There we go. All right, let's get ready. Here we go. Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Low Steph, and I'm back here for another episode 172, I believe, of the platform. So, if you're new to the channel, I'd like you to do me a favor and please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications, right? If you want to be a part of the conversation, leave a comment. If you know somebody that's interested in the content that I'm talking about, then I want you to hit that share button. All right. So yeah, man, we're back. We're back. I'm excited to be back, man. I try to be festive today a little bit. I got my Christmas pajamas on, post Thanksgiving. That's when we supposed to be getting into Christmas. I need to get this damn tree out of this little storage area that I got. You know what I mean? I told my son that we would do it this weekend. Last year, I waited till the last minute to start decorating my tree. Like I probably had maybe like a week and a half before Christmas. So I'm trying not to be on that type of time this year. I'm trying to, be on time at least, at the very least, be on time. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. Hopefully, everyone that's watching, hopefully you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a successful Black Friday, all right, getting whatever deals you was trying to get. Uh, you know, and then Friendsgiving, if you're still celebrating Friendsgiving, most people celebrate it before Thanksgiving, but I've seen some where they celebrate it after, especially when Thanksgiving falls a little bit earlier. So this was like the latest Thanksgiving that you could possibly have, you know what I mean? Like on the 28th of the month, right? That's the latest it could be. And but no, man, I feel good. Definitely ate well. I was responsible for bringing the coquito. I shouldn't have said it. I don't know why I said coquito. Coquito. You know what I mean? If you don't know what coquito is, it's basically the best way is like Puerto Rican eggnog. You know what I mean? But like coconut. But you don't have to have egg in it at all. Like there's not necessarily egg, but like the consistency of it, that's how I would describe it to somebody. It'd be like an eggnog, all right? But coconut flavored and his Hispanic in origin. So I was responsible for that and it was a hit, man. Everybody seemed to love it. And it's funny because everybody treats coquito like it's like the most coveted thing in the world. Like even I was like that for a while. I used to be like, oh my God, who got the coquito? Who got the coquito? And then I made it for the first time like 5 years ago or something. It was a long time ago. I made it for the first time, and it was so easy. And I was thinking like, why don't more people like? It's not that special. It's not as special as people make it seem, but you know, hey, it's a coveted thing. It's something. So if you're not familiar with it, again, this is a drink. Like I said, it's kind of like an eggnog, but it's something that really only comes out, or you only drink coquito during this time of the year, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas up to New Year's, right? The holiday season. You don't really drink. That's not really something that you drink in the summer. Um, which I guess you could coconut, but like I think it's because of the thickness of it. It's like it would be too thick to be drinking something like that in the summertime. Like your stomach would probably turn and stuff like that. There's a lot of different milks in there, but it's definitely dope. It's definitely a good alcoholic beverage. But like I thought they was gassing up a little bit, but it apparently was good. So yeah, man. So that was good. Food was good. Obviously, food was good. One thing I noticed though is that so this is what I noticed. I noticed that like if you go to any ethnic, like black, Hispanic type of Thanksgivings, right? Like, yo, mashed potatoes is not a staple, right? Like I'm not saying that my people don't eat mashed potatoes at all, but like it's not a staple in these environments, right? Like when it comes to Thanksgiving, like and I don't know why, because I do like mashed potatoes with turkey and I like gravy and stuff like that, all the fixings and stuff like that. But I noticed that like I had a lot of my Thanksgivings have taken place at my grandma's house, right, in Philly. And I don't think I could tell you any time that we had mashed potatoes. Like it always, it's like I think mashed potatoes is too basic of a side dish for black people that we be like, nah, I don't want mashed potatoes. I want sweet potatoes, and I'm not even just gonna make sweet potatoes. I'm gonna make them into candy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna do what I gotta do with these damn sweet potatoes. But yeah, I noticed that it's like mashed potatoes itself is not. It's I guess it's just not necessary. You know what I mean? It's not. If there is a Caucasian in the vicinity though, then mashed potatoes usually show up. Or if there's one that's involved in any of the cooking at all, or bringing any dish, you will see a mashed potato. But for the most part, yeah, black. I'm telling you, black Thanksgivings don't be having mashed potatoes. You know, definitely don't have no corn. I mean, we talking, it's greens, green beans, it's yams, it's macaroni and cheese, it's different rices. Maybe some kind of like prepared salads, cabbage, all type of stuff. Whatever. There was oxtails at where I was at. It was dope. It was dope. It was dope. Had a good time. And definitely, overate. You know what I mean? And so now I gotta get right, man. I got a lot of basketball to play this weekend too. And hopefully I'm burning a bunch of calories as I do that. Did any of you guys do any Black Friday shopping? So one of the biggest items right now, that a lot of people are trying to get, I got family members and everybody like that. They want this. It's a Ninja slushy machine. And this joint is official because you don't even need ice. And I seen what this thing can do. And they are dropped them on sale and stuff like that. But like um a lot of the big box retailers, they don't have it in stock. Like it's sold out. It's sold out like it's like a PS5 or something like that. Like this shit is like this is like the number one ticket item that a lot of people want, other than maybe TVs and stuff like that. That's what people want. But did you do any Black Friday shopping? Did you need a TV this year? I actually do need a TV this year. I need to get a couple of little TVs for different situations that um I got going on. But it's funny because people will always make that joke, whatever. But I'm like, no, but it's the best time to buy a TV for real. Like if you really need a TV, which people do need TVs, this is when you should get it. But I did go shopping a little bit, so I actually had to just get my son some basketball sneakers because his season about to start. And I went to the mall. I went to Park City Mall that's in Lancaster, and it's the best mall in my area. And yo, like it's I get it, it's supposed to be packed and everything like that, but it was just too much. It was too crazy. We got what we needed to get, and then we got out of there and got some food, and I'm going to dinner. But it's a madhouse. It's a madhouse. So hopefully, if you did go shopping today, hopefully you did get the deals. Hopefully you didn't go through too much stress. But yeah, Black Friday is definitely. I used to work retail, and I used to know what that feeling was like, working that day, and how important it was. And like I was in actually a commission based retail position, which I don't even think those really exist anymore. But it was dope. It was dope. Just preparing and all the money that I would make in those days, it was a good time. But like, um, nowadays, yeah, it's like getting out there. I'm kind of glad that they did go back to just it being Black Friday because remember there was a run, man. There was like a 3 to 5 year run of Black Friday going into midnight of Thanksgiving, and then the reason why it changed is because it started getting earlier. Like it started, like the Black Friday deal started at like 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving. So like so the pendulum swang too far one direction, and then they said, nah, man, we need to actually get Thanksgiving back. So they pushed Black Friday back into stores open up at 6 a.m. And I don't know, like now that online shopping is such a thing, it's not as imperative to shop for the deals in the stores, but I think sometimes the stores do be having better deals than what you'll even see online, what you'll even see on Cyber Monday. Because remember, Monday is also a holiday, shopping holiday. It's Cyber Monday, so hopefully this 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 slushy maker, if I'm getting one for somebody, hopefully I could find one that day. Other than that though, other than shopping and stuff like that, football was a big deal. A part of this holiday, and my Packers they won, and we're gonna talk about my Packers later. We're gonna talk a little bit about the playoff race, the MVP race, and things like that. What else we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about the Netflix show Rhythm and Flow season two, right? Season two is back, and they got brand new judges and whole new set of contestants, and we're gonna see. I'm gonna give you a little my takes on what I think about the show so far. We're gonna recap Kendrick Lamar's new album GNX. We're gonna recap that album, right? I'm gonna talk to you about that album, all right? And it might surprise you. It might surprise you my take on this album. What else? What else do I got? I got the Drake lawsuit, right? The UMG, the Drake's UMG lawsuit, right? We're gonna talk a little bit about that, and I want to see what y'all think about this. I definitely want that conversation with how y'all feel about it, but and I'll let you know how I feel. But it's not. Yeah, I could see it going. I actually could see it going both ways, even though we do that a lot on this show. I could see both sides of this. And let's see, what else? What else do I got? We got football. Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about football. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it today. All right. So, but we're gonna get into this stuff though. We get into it. So, um, first thing, let's talk about Rhythm and Flow. So, y'all remember the first season of Rhythm and Flow? Rhythm and Flow was what is that 2018? Was that a 2018 show, 2019 show? Or was that COVID? Was that the first year of COVID? What? 2019. This is a 2019 show. So this is pre-COVID. This is pre-COVID. And probably, man, the worst time to win that award, pre-COVID. So 5 years ago. So waited 5 years for this, and I thought it was a dope show because I do like, I like a little bit of a music competition show. I don't want to see stuff like The Voice and American Idol. Like, I don't want them to drag it. So I'm glad that kind of refreshing that they decided, or maybe they couldn't get the judges, maybe they couldn't get a lead person, but I'm kind of glad that they brought it back, but I'm also glad that they don't drag it on. And like, how many seasons of American Idol have there been? There's probably two sets a year. Same with The Voice. The Voice, they do like two or three cycles of The Voice per year. And so it's like it's so saturated, and I don't know nobody from The Voice that ever made it. American Idol at least had some winners, but if y'all remember the last time there was Rhythm and Flow, Cardi B was a judge, Chance the Rapper was a judge. Who was the third judge on Rhythm and Flow season one? Who the hell was that? Now I'm like, yeah, I'm confused now. Oh, Ti. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then so that was season one, right? And y'all remember it was a guy from California. His name was D Smoke. And he actually was a school teacher, and he was like bilingual, but it was a brother. So D Smoke won, and he's kind of had some, he's had some relative like notoriety and success. Like he's in the music industry for sure. Like he gets paid to make music, in what style and capacity, I'm not too sure. But he's still around. He's still around, but he's not like a superstar or anything like that. So then for season two, they brought in new judges, right? So the woman, the one opposite of Cardi B, the female judge is Latto this year, right? So Latto is a good pick because she also was a part of a reality TV show music competition, right? So she kind of not the same one, but she has familiarity with this kind of format. We got Khaled, which I think Khaled actually is a really good pick just because he's the producer. He's gonna give you that kind of, I think if you get a Khaled cosign, that's pretty major because at the very least, even if you don't win, if he sees potential in you, he might throw you on a song of his, and that might be, your best look of your career. And then they have none other than Mr. Christopher Bridges, aka Ludacris. And I think he's a good pick too because Ludacris was a radio host at one point in time. Ludacris is good on the mic. Ludacris is very well spoken, but he's also like a rapper's rapper as well. Like I think Ludacris gets a bad rap for just being kind of goofy and things like that, but like he's a real artist, man. Super under like I think Ludacris is one of the most underrated artists of my lifetime and my generation. But definitely I feel like he knows what it is to be like a mega successful star. And then I think he just provides like good feedback and critiques and stuff like that. So So the show's been moving along pretty well, and what they're doing, just like any other Netflix competition show, they're breaking it up into different episodes. And I don't mean episodes, but like they're giving you chunks. Like they're not just giving you all whatever 10 episodes, if it's 10. They're not giving it to you all at once. They're breaking it down into segments. So finished watching like the first two installments of Rhythm and Flow season two. And the one thing that is to note is that there's a lot of like female artists. There's a lot of female artists that seem to be featured in this, which is good, which is good. I think I still think though with female artists, I think it's easier for them to kind of pop off at least catch your attention because females that rap, it's not a new thing, but I think it's still for some people, for many fans, it's still like a novelty almost, and like they just stand out. Like and you especially if you hear a girl that's like spitting in a fashion that's like similar to like male lyricists, it does catch your eye and you're just wondering like, oh, well, okay, what does this person have next? One thing I noticed too, one thing I do have to commend these women on though is like none of them I'm not saying that none of them look good, but none of them have gone like the sexy route. Like all these women that they chose, not saying they not turned up, not saying they not doing nothing like that, not saying that if they would make it into the industry, they wouldn't start to show their bodies more. But like all these women, like that's not their brand. Like their brand has most of them has been it's been about like the lyrics and things like that. Now there had like in the first like early rounds where even people were getting accepted and things like that from auditions, there was a little bit of ratchetness. There was some ratchetness, but then I feel like they kind of cleaned it up a little bit. And as people have gone through, the music has stood the test of time a little bit more, as opposed to like image and things like that. So I like what they're doing in terms of just the way they're kind of breaking it up. Like they have just different phases. You got the audition phase, then I think you got a phase where do they have to write? I think there's something where they got to write something like in a short period of time. Then they have like a battle phase, and then they have like this phase where the last thing that I saw was that they had to all make singles and basically like perform their single, and it's like, how well do you do? And oh, they did a cipher. They did a cipher. That was dope. So yeah, they've been definitely including the different elements of hip hop. And one thing too that I like about the show that they're doing really well is that they're the guest judges, right? So they had Big Sean as a guest judge for something. They had Busta Rhymes as a guest judge. They've had Eminem as a guest judge. Who else did they have as a guest judge? Oh, they have had Glorilla. I might be missing one of the guest judges, but like that's been just a good thing. Like having that revolving door of these different judges, just so like just different people of different parts of hip hop can be exposed to these artists. Um, One thing I'm noticing too is like the southern rappers, they definitely have a certain style to them. There's a lot of like Midwest type rappers though that are like hungry, and like you could tell like they on some stuff. Like there's quite a few from Michigan, Detroit, or Flint and things like that. There was this dope girl from Cincinnati. Like like definitely seeing like a little bit of a range of different styles of rap, and like I said, overall it's been pretty good. In terms of artists that I like, there is one artist that I've particularly liked, and there has been West Coast guys as well. But one artist that I particularly like is a guy from the West Coast. His name is Jay Taj. Now, this guy though, the only thing about him is his his identity, right? His cultural ambiguity. I'll say that cultural ambiguity, because he clearly he was raised by like his grandfather, who was a black man, but this man himself is very fair skinned, and it makes you kind of like you're kind of wondering like what you don't know what he is culturally. You don't know who his parents are because his parents, I guess, have been like locked in and out of jail and stuff like that. So like when he talks about his father, he's talking about his grandfather, who's this black man, and like he identifies with that life and everything. But it's a little bit of a mystery as to like who his biological parents are and what they were and things like that. Because people have called him out in this show for using the N word, and it's like, well, he is black, but it's like, how black is he, and what it is. So it gets into that, but like, no, he's probably the most top polished artist on that show, and he reminds me of Belly. Like, I don't know if you remember the rapper Belly, from a couple years ago. He's actually from Canada, Belly, and he don't even look. I don't even know what he is either. He's very ambiguous, but he has that look to him. Has like a strong delivery, and I would say he said I would just say he sounds like Belly. Like I can't even think of another artist to really compare him to in terms of that. But really has all the mannerisms, and like he has the look, he has the swag to him, and it's very his style is very captivating. Even like I would say he's like a mix of Belly and like Rick Ross for real. And I think that's why Khaled, like, I think he's kind of gravitating towards this guy. But most of the judges are because they just look at him as like he's probably the most complete artist there. One thing though that I'm worried about with this show is just like the first season. So there's this idea, at least when I'm watching this show, the idea for me is that like all these artists are like coming from the bottom, straight from the mud, and they're trying to make it, right? Like I mean, straight from the mud. Thing is though, the first season, D Smoke won. Remember, he was the season one winner, and then we find out that Sir, right, the singer that's signed to TDE, is his brother, right? And I think D Smoke might be the older brother, or it might be vice versa. But for me, I'm not saying that your brother can automatically get you into the industry, but what I'm saying is that you being that close to your brother, you had like at least a little bit of a foot in the door, as opposed to somebody that has no connections at all. Like you probably at the very least had some networking opportunities. You probably been in some studios. You probably been able to, I mean, like you've been close to music. It's not like you're just like some person that's just writing in a pad. Like, and so like I'm wondering if certain artists that are on this show, like how much exposure have they actually had, and how much is this a brand new golden opportunity for them? Because I think it kind of it levels the play. If everybody's on the same level, right, and they don't have certain expertise or certain experience, then I think the playing field is like really even and it's fair. But like I feel like if you have ties, it makes it look like you knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that was able to pull some strings for you to get in. And I'm not saying that D Smoke wasn't deserving of it. I remember his season though, and there was another artist or two that I thought should have maybe won. But when he won, it wasn't a surprise, but I felt like other artists could have won as well. So, like I said, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it develops. But it's definitely worth the watch. Definitely worth the watch, especially if you have some extra time to yourself during this little holiday weekend. Go check that out. Go check that out. Moving on. Moving on. All right, y'all. Let's talk about Kendrick's album. All right, so GNX, right? So this album, I waited for before I was gonna dig into this album. I didn't want to see nothing about it necessarily, but I said I was gonna wait. I was gonna wait a little bit. I wasn't gonna just jump right out there. I'm not the biggest Kendrick fan. I'm not anti Kendrick though either necessarily. I'm anti. But yeah, I'm not anti Kendrick necessarily. I am anti how some things kind of went down in this battle. I'm anti the way the fans kind of dragged parts of this battle, elements of this battle. I am anti that, but I'm not necessarily anti Kendrick Lamar. Like he doing what he think he got to do, and we're gonna get into some deeper stuff a little bit. But no, no. So the album comes out, and I didn't want to just rush to it, but I also didn't want to ignore it. I felt like, all right, I gotta give this a listen, and I'm glad that I gave it some time because and not even time to listen to it because I did listen to like it was once I knew that this album existed, right? I tried to listen. I put on like a track, and it was the first track, Whacked Out Murals, and off the rip, I was like, oh, this dude is on his shit again. Like he's still on this. Like he hasn't let go of this. Like he won the battle, but he hasn't let it go yet, right? So I'm just thinking like, okay. And it just wasn't, and I try to like play it for my son and things like that because he kind of has been invested in this. This is his first, Kendrick and Drake is his first like rap beef that he's able to like really witness and know what's going on. And it's interesting because I want to know what his perceptions are going to be years down the road when he's older and he's talking about hip hop and things like that. But I just wanted to kind of give it time. So like after I heard that and I think I tried to skip around a little bit, I was just like I was ready to hate on the album. I was like, man, nah, that shit ain't good. Like that shit is not all that, whatever. However, however, I said, I gotta be fair because I was like, I need content. I actually need to like listen to this album. I need to make an episode. I need something to talk about. So I was like, all right. I have to listen to it before I give a critique because I can't just come out of nowhere and just call it weak automatically. And then because, Kendrick fans especially, they're kind of crazy. So like you gotta, you know, call it down the line or you kind of gotta be favorable for real to Kendrick. They don't accept nothing that's not favorable. But however, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to it. And I listened to it on my way to where I had to go for Thanksgiving. And bro, listening to it again and like skipping whacked out murals, like and just kind of starting from Squabble Up, yo, that album is hard. Like I didn't think I would say this or whatever, but that Kendrick album is hard. Like there's a lot of, and one of the things is like a lot of people, myself and a lot of people I know, they talk about Kendrick don't really have like that replay play value. And I would say there's a good amount of songs that I would like play back. And I think it's just a testament to like this album is like it's just the kind of rap that I like. I'm not a big conscious rap type of dude. I like if a conscious rapper can switch styles and just talk about other stuff. Lupe Fiasco being one of those types. But and this Kendrick Lamar is who Lupe was supposed to be. Like and I've said this before. I said this before, but Kendrick Lamar, where he's at in his career, everything he's accomplished, that's where Lupe was supposed to be. But Lupe, if he could have been vocal as he is, he should have just been that way through music. But when you're an artist and you start to talk about all these different issues and things like that, that's when you leave room for them to get you out of here. You know what I mean? But the music, they ain't not gonna censor the music, but they're gonna censor your words and we can get into that another time. But um yeah, it's probably like the last conscious rapper that I really mess with, like a guy like Lupe. I mean, he's a conscious lyricist, type of dude. And I would say that Kendrick Lamar is kind of cut from that cloth. And but it's hard to kind of like fully get into Kendrick. One of the things that I don't particularly like are the voices. Now, I know a lot of rappers do voices. Like a lot of rappers change their cadence and their tone and things like that. And some of that is okay, but like it's when he tries to sound like a robot or like like when he's like whining on the track like like you know what I mean? Like I don't like when he sounds like that. Like I don't like that. I don't like some of his inflections and stuff like that. The bars are always good. Like I can't deny that about Kendrick. So some of that is like I'm just like when I'm listening to him, sometimes it's like I feel like he didn't get into those kind of pockets. I feel like this album, he wasn't trying, right? Like a lot of time, and I don't want that to be taken the wrong way, like because he puts in effort every time, but like there's so many of his albums where it's like he's trying to be conscious, like To Pimp a Butterfly, or he's trying to sound like all his songs are anthems or something like that, or he's trying to do this, he's trying to do that. And this one, it felt very natural. It just felt like he was stunting and it was swaggy and like that's the kind of rap I like. I like when a rapper is on that type of time as opposed to like just everything that you're doing is super introspective. It's like I don't want to hear that. I just don't want to hear that. So, and this is why I say to the fans, I don't want to see unnecessary bar breakdowns of some of this type of stuff. I'm not giving you no bar breakdown to this album because obviously we can get into a bunch of lines that are really, really dope, but we can kind of talk about some things on the outside overview, but I'm not parsing bars and things like that. I'm not doing that. But I just don't want to see that from fans. I don't want to see these long diatribes about, how good his album was and oh, you don't understand what he's trying to say. I don't want to hear that or see that in this instance, right? But yeah, man, I think there is a lot of replay value. I think when he made Not Like Us, one of the things that, and I've heard Kendrick's discography. I haven't studied his discography, but I know a lot of his albums. He never really played with like those West Coast sounds, right? So when Not Like Us came out, I know a lot of people was saying like, oh, like Kendrick don't even get into this pocket at all. Like he don't never really hop into his West Coast bag. And I feel like in on this album, he did, and like he did it more than once, and it was good. It sounded good. It was the beats are good, the flows are good. The hooks on a lot of these songs are good. But I'm gonna tell you some of my favorite tracks. My favorite tracks are "Squabble Up." I mean, that apparently has a video out already. "Man at the Garden," and I actually think "Man at the Garden" is the standout track. Like the "Man at the Garden" is like he's going in like um I deserve it all like and yeah that's he keeps saying that after and like he's spitting on that joint like that's where he's stunting and flexing and it's like I said it's coming from him. It's not necessarily at the expense of anybody. He's just stunting like that. um Hey Now is good, and I think I actually like the last verse on that, especially because he does like a slingshot verse with like a relatively unknown artist. What is his name? His name was Dottie Six. Yeah, so and that's the thing. A lot of his features on this album are all other than SZA, everybody seems to be like West Coast or like somebody that's not like the biggest artist. So oh, I don't know if these are his artists per se, or if I don't know if these are his artists that he's has on these features, but it's still dope, and I think it helps to add to the album a little bit because it's not like he's not relying on the superstar features. Now, again, he has SZA on two songs, but those are to sing some hooks. The one joint with SZA is not too bad. Luther, and they sample "If This World Were Mine." But I that's not one of my favorite tracks. Reincarnated is really good. TV off is crazy. TV off, that's the one where he's on the like everybody play is playing this part where he's like mustard. And he says it for mad long. That's a pretty dope song. Um Dodger Blue. Oh my God, that's my shit. Like low key, that's my shit. Like and it does have Roddy Ricch on there. So that's another like kind of like superstar type personality. But no, Dodger Blue is dope. Like it's my that's my kind of track right there. And then the Hard Part Six, Hard Part Six, and oh my God, the Hard Part Six is so good because of the sample, like the SWV sample, Use Your Heart. It just feels very nostalgic. It feels like a soundtrack. It feels it's like really good. And I thought Heart Part Six was really dope because he was talking about his like the beginnings of his career and like how he got a part of TDE and Black Hippie and eventually leaving those groups and things like that. And so yeah, I thought it was a real good track. The only one I would say I ain't gonna say there's no Drake bars or there's no bars where he's trying to get at people. Whacked Out Murals though is definitely the song where he's like doing the most in terms of like trying to poke the bear with some people. Lil Wayne's name gets mentioned, other people's names gets mentioned, and obviously it has people talking and everything like that. And you're wondering who else is he dissing in this, but overall, man, I gotta say that this is probably one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar albums. I liked Good Kid, Mad City. I like some tracks on Damn. To Pimp a Butterfly is just not that's not one of my favorite ones. This album is better than I'll say at the very least, this is better than Mr. Morale. This album is better than Mr. Morale, in my opinion. And it's crazy because I seen that Pitchfork is, publication. They gave this album a 6.6 out of 10 and they said they saying this is his lowest rating on Pitchfork from any album. So like it's just I don't know, people difference of opinions, but like I wonder if like the things that I like about this album, those are things that people don't like about the album. So I wonder. So we'll see where it goes, but it's supposed to be they saying first week numbers is supposed to be like 325, 325K, which is substantial, really good. They definitely trying to make new stats though. Like they giving Kendrick Lamar all the next level stats. They like, oh, this for an album with less than 15 tracks, this is yada 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 yada. And I'm like, come on, man. Like we don't need the next level stats with this. But let's move on and like this is a perfect segue though, just in terms of these two artists. Like these two artists have been pitted against each other since the beginning of the year, since March, when Like That came out. I'm talking about Drake, right? And so Drake has filed a lawsuit against UMG, Universal Music Group. So ironically, Kendrick and Drake are both on that super label, right? Obviously, different subsidiaries and things like that. So he's suing for like defamation of character, and he's suing the company. He's not suing Kendrick Lamar. So let's get that straight off the bat. He's not suing Kendrick Lamar, but he is suing the company. So what all the talking points have led to, articles and people talking about this that have been like kind of in the mix. What they're saying is that basically Drake he was preparing to negotiate a new deal or get a new deal, right? And what he's trying to prove in this lawsuit is that UMG artificially elevated a song elevated Not Like Us, Kendrick's song Not Like Us, to the and what it has done is they're trying to do that to basically plummet his value as an artist because if he's worth less then they can give him less. um there's some talks where like some people believe that he's like threatening to go independent and things like that. I don't know if that's actually true or not. But that's what they're saying overall though is that he feels that his stock has dropped a little bit, but it's because of how much they pumped that song. Now we gotta admit, like if you listen to, because I listen to the radio, because actually my area actually has a decent radio station now. That song played every hour on the hour. Now that song maybe every half hour an hour, and it still does. It still does play that often. And we got to keep it 100. Maybe is it because it's the song is old now, but like the song is not that good. Like it's not that good to listen to. And so like this song had the full machine behind it, right? Not to mention that in this song Drake is called a pedo, right? He's called a pet. He's called a pedo in this song. And if there's not, what's fair in battling, what's fair in a rap battle? I don't know if anybody can answer that definitively. What's fair in a rap battle? However, it's never been copacetic to call someone a pedophile when they aren't one. Like there's no like that's a one. It's a diagnosis, and it's a crime. Like it's a criminal offense. So it's like what are we doing here? Like we can't we there's other clever ways to, if you want to insinuate that he's messing with X, Y, and Z, you can do that. But like, we like this is a worldwide track. There's a worldwide track to where little kids are singing this track back and got everybody believing that this guy touches little kids. And it's like that's not even I don't even think that's remotely close to the case. But was it in a battle? Sure, but like battle songs also don't get that much push. So like, is Drake on to something with this, right? Is he on to something? Maybe he is. Now, I don't think it's is some type of altruistic thing where he's doing this for independent artists either. Like I don't want to make it into that. He's definitely doing it for himself. Let's be clear there. He's doing it for himself. However, though, if you could do it to the biggest artists in the game, you could do it to any artist in the game. So that's where he's not doing it for the other artists, but this sets a weird precedent. Like if this one, if the lawsuit goes through, or if this is proven that they did these tactics to elevate the song, they could do that to anybody. Now, one thing that people are saying is that like, oh, Drake is just mad because, he don't got the machine behind him anymore. Like, or people are saying like, well, Drake benefited off of this machine in the past. However, it's different in the sense of like, sure, Drake is popular and he's a world star. But the difference between this is that like Drake has never, even if he got a machine behind him, it's never to discredit or devalue someone else, some other rapper, right? So on a pure rap aspect of things, it does on all the rip, it does seem corny. Like, yo, oh my God, he's a sore loser, things like that. He's crying. But on a business aspect of things, hey man, you gotta protect the brand. And especially like what they kind of allowed to kind of go down in this, it's like you gotta protect your brand at all costs. Um, so I'm just wondering what's gonna happen when the dust all settles, where it's gonna be. One thing I wanted to say though about the pedophile claims, right, and things like that, is that when we think about that phrase and that word, right, and we think about what people call Drake and what basically we allowed them to call Drake. Um, the irony is that the fact that like in the music industry, there was a real life predator, right, by the name of R. Kelly. And a real life predator, a real life man that was doing bad things to young women. Because again, that woman that he assaulted, I was around her age at the time. Like at the time, at the time that the video comes out, and we seen that video when we was kids, like Yeah, I mean, she would have been. She's supposed to be my age, whatever. She might be older. She might be a year or two older than me, but like we're all around the same age. And so like I knew what he was doing was bad. I didn't already didn't really like R. Kelly, but I stopped. I definitely was like, oh no, I can't get down with this guy. But here's the thing. Now, one artist that I can remember, y'all let me know. I know people that are into like talking about music, they've criticized him and said their things about him, but not one artist has come out ever um on a track, especially. No artist has ever on a track dropped a bar about R. Kelly and him with young girls and little kids. I've never heard a bar. If y'all could pull the bar out for me, please do it. Definitely nobody ever did it directed at him. Now I know he's an R&B artist and beef don't work the same, whatever. But I've never heard an R&B artist mention it. I've never heard a rapper make a bar flip about him getting locked up like R. Kelly, whatever. I never heard none of that. And he was a real life predator. He was a real life predator, and so when it's real, we can't say it was real, but when it's jokes and it's in a diss track, anything goes, like anything can fly. Is it just artistic interpretation? I don't know, but um it's not looking the best for Drake in terms of just public perception, because most people, the average fan, doesn't know anything about the music business. They don't think that deep into the music business. I'm not even an expert in the music business, but I'm way more invested than I would say the people that think this is nothing at all. I'm way more invested than they are. But but just still on the other hand, it just doesn't look good for him. It does look like he's trying to move the goalposts and trying to like, somebody used the analogy is like, yo, it's like he's like the guy that takes his ball, like he brings the ball to the basketball court, he takes his ball with him because things don't go his way. Like this feels like the equivalent of that. So we'll see where this all goes. But again, he's not suing Kendrick, he's suing the label, and he basically saying that they fucking with his money. If you fuck with my money and if you made money like Drake, then and you fucked up my money, yeah, I'll be pretty tight too. So we'll see. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. All right, let's move on to the last thing, and we're gonna talk a little bit about football. All right, last thing we're gonna talk about is some football. There's some football. Okay. So let's talk about football. So obviously, like I said, it's a Thanksgiving tradition. We're getting down to the stretch of very, very important games. So every game that is gonna happen in the next like this week and then the next 5 weeks after that is very crucial, right? We still have bye weeks next week, right? So this is week 13 where we're at, but we still have bye weeks in week 14. So I mean, it's not even fantasy playoff time yet, but we're getting close, and like every game matters. So and these division races are getting tighter and tighter as they go. MVP races now. We're starting to, well, Pro Bowl voting has started, but then now we're talking about the MVP race. And I would say, if I'm thinking about the MVP race, the players that come to mind, and what has come to mind for a lot of teams and players, it would be Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's having a phenomenal year. Like I think his year is being slept on a little bit. His team has lost a couple games. They've lost more games than they probably should have lost, right? I mean, and they've had some tight nail biter wins too, where they shouldn't have won some of them games. However, like the discussion about Lamar being a passer and things like that, I think we have to stop that now because he's showing amazing efficiency. He's one of the tops in the league in terms of completion percentage. He's throwing about he's completing about 67% of his passes. His touchdown to turnover ratio is ridiculous, right? You got a guy that got almost 30 touchdowns and he has less than five interceptions. So there's nothing, like he's balling out there. And then obviously then he's that dual threat. You got Josh Allen, and then Josh Allen is trying to put like he's playing really well. His Bills are playing well. They've lost. I mean, he lost a lot of weapons. he had some, had some injuries on the team. He lost his number one receiver. They're just kind of makeshift making things work. And he's playing way more efficient than he has in the past. Like he used to be a turnover interception machine, but he's kind of um he's tightened it up a little bit. I mean, I know the Chiefs are 11-1 now. They're 11-1 now. But I don't think Patrick Mahomes is playing at he's not playing, he's not a bad quarterback at all. Like I'm not about to, say weird things like that. But he's just not playing his best ball. But the other guy I would say would be Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley. And I actually say Saquon Barkley is kind of, when it comes to MVP, he's kind of running away with this race. So let me just let's see. Let's see. NFL running back rushing leaders. Okay. So let's not get it. I don't want to get too crazy. Like so Saquon Barkley, I would say, because Derrick Henry is right there with Saquon Barkley. Like Derrick Henry has, um, and they play each other this week, right? So Saquon Barkley has 1392. Derrick Henry is right behind him at 1325. Josh Jacobs, right? Shout out to Josh Jacobs, honorable mention. He's at 987, the third in the league. 13 more yards, he would have had 1,000. But yeah, no, Packers running back, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is back. Let's not forget that. We'll get into them later. Um, wow, I'm just looking at these stats. I'm looking at these stats, and yeah. So I kind of thought he was a little bit further away from Derrick Henry, but in terms of MVP, I still think that Saquon Barkley is kind of running away with this MVP because that's not counting his receiving yards. That's not counting his scrimmage yards, so to speak. And Saquon Barkley is going crazy. Saquon Barkley is like literally he's a living and breathing highlight reel. He's a home run hit every time, like every at bat, so to speak. He's Barry Bonds. He's steroid Barry Bonds right now, where you did not want to pitch to this guy. You do not want him to have the ball. If Saquon Barkley has the ball, he's probably going to score. Like that's what it's looking like right now. And now, granted, his last game he benefited off of like two. He broke. He set a career high. He broke his own record. He broke an Eagles record, I believe. He had 255 yards. Now, granted, 140 of those yards came on two busted ass run plays. He had two 70-yard runs in that game, which is insane when you really think about that. Like just to run for 70 yards two different times, back to back in the basically not back to back, but two different times in the game, 70-yard touchdowns where you're barely touched. Yeah, I mean that's definitely gonna help your stat line a little bit. So like, let's say we take those, if we take those, because those are they were kind of fluky plays. So yeah, he would be well behind Derrick Henry. He'd be over 100 yards behind Derrick Henry, but I still have him as the front runner for MVP because he is definitely changing the Eagles. Like he's making them like a better team now. Their record isn't like extremely better than they were. So like a stat like wins above replacement or something like that. It's not going to be like a super high for the Eagles with Saquon Barkley because they already were a good team. They were already a playoff team. However, Saquon gives you just that edge that it's hard to measure. It's hard to measure. So yeah, man, those are the MVP guys. So if this quarterback's record was better, like if his team had a better record, I would definitely put Joe Burrow as MVP candidate. Like he probably still is the MVP candidate despite his team's record because Joe Burrow is balling out, man. Like obviously he still has Jamar Chase. Um, but like we don't know what that team is gonna look like next year. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be able to keep Higgins and Jamar Chase, even though they've been kind of gluing that together. You had Joe Burrow with some injuries, you had Chase with some injuries, you got T. Higgins with some injuries now. But like Joe Burrow is balling out. Like he's really doing his thing and he's finding other receivers. Like That's what shows me if you're great as a quarterback is if can you start getting those other receivers, those veterans, or even those unknown young guys? Can you get them involved to make them relevant? If you can, then you are the truth. You know what I mean? And I see that with a guy like Joe Burrow, but his team record is too bad for them to even consider him. So that's that on MVP races and things of that nature. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we see that Daniel Jones, man, Daniel Jones, former quarterback of the New York Giants, has been cut. He has been released from the Giants, and I'm thinking, the Giants obviously they made a mistake by giving up Saquon Barkley, but Saquon was not going to make them better. And even with Saquon, it's making me wonder, like, was he faking injuries before? They do say that the Meadowlands, that just the MetLife Stadium, that turf hurts a lot of people. Like a lot of people have gotten hurt on that turf. But it just makes you wonder, like, was he not giving 100%? Because he just looks like a whole new player. He looks like he's 21 years old. He looks like he's like fresh out of high school. Just not his appearance, but like his demeanor and like his energy. It just looks like he's not a 26-year-old back. Like he looks like he's a baby out there, but he's killing. He's killing. But it makes you wonder, like when he played for a dumpster fire organization like the Giants, and he was getting hurt and banged up. Like was he sitting out games or what? You know what I mean, because I just thought like, all right, Saquon's good, but like he's gonna get hurt. That's what I kept thinking in my head. He's gonna get hurt. He's gonna get hurt. He don't. Nobody's touching him. Nobody's even touching him. So he's not gonna get hurt if he don't get tackled. But yeah, speaking of Daniel Jones, I'm wondering now that he's not the best, but he's still serviceable enough to be a backup in this league. And I'm trying to think of what teams would be out there that could use a backup like a Daniel Jones. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I did ask myself this question, and I was really trying to think about it. And basically, like, if their quarterback goes down, do you like has somebody with a pulse that can be somewhat half decent? Um, Maybe the line. I don't know who the Lions backup is, but he's probably. I doubt he's probably better than Deion Jones. I'm happy about my Packers. My Packers got a good backup quarterback. I mean, Bears not a playoff team. Maybe, yeah, I mean, the Vikings. I don't know who's after Darnold because JJ McCarthy's not there, so I don't know who's after him. The Niners aren't on a playoff team right now, so I can't even say the 49ers. I mean, the Eagles have Kenny Pickett, so maybe they feel like they have their guy. Maybe the Dolphins, because without Tua, without whenever if Tua ever gets hurt again for whatever reason, you can't roll with a guy like Skylar Thompson. I think Daniel Jones could play a lot better than Skylar Thompson and on any day. You know what I'm saying? But I guess it is tough. It is tough. Daniel Jones, again, he's serviceable. Has had just some bad stats. He had a really good year a couple years ago. That's his contract year. That's what I think it was like 2022. He had like all kind of like he had like over 700, almost 800 rushing yards. He had over 3,000 yards passing. Um, his most efficient year that he's ever put up, and yeah, they got him paid, but I don't know. I think they just felt pressure because it's like, here's the thing: when you have a quarterback that plays somewhat decent, if you let a quarterback walk, you're insane. Like, yeah, I mean, to the masses. And here's the thing: what if they did let him walk and like he played for somebody else and he was even better? Then everybody would look at the Giants that they were dumb. So like when you get to when you're talking about a quarterback, you have to be terrible. Like, well, you have to never produce nothing at all for them to not have any confidence. He did have a year where he produced and he got them to did they go to the playoffs that year? Yeah, he did. They went to the playoffs at least one season. So if you don't do that at all, especially during the contract year, then yeah, you get to go. But if you have any inkling of success in your quarterback, then teams are going to try to keep you as much as they can because you're the most important position on the field. Um, and then so yes, I don't know where he'll end up, but I don't think he's out of the league. I think he will be on the team. People are going to criticize whoever gets him, but I think he's going to be good as a backup. He might even be good as a starter if we put him in the right system. But the Giants have not. They just haven't been good. Like let's keep it all the way real. Like the Giants is they're just as poorly run as maybe the Jets. Maybe not as bad as the Jets, but like you get the idea. Like they you can't take them serious. And then last thing I want to talk about is my Packers, man. My Packers. So my Packers won on Thanksgiving Day. I was actually worried because I think the Dolphins going into that game, the Dolphins are getting better. They're getting better. Um, with Tua back, they're getting healthier. They're starting to win some games. And so and when you have two home run hitters like Tyreek Hill, and you got Waddle, and now, yo, Jonnu Smith, 29-year-old Jonnu Smith, tight end Jonnu Smith, is playing like he's playing like he's in the prime of his career. And actually, he's having the best season of his career right now at age 29. Like he had some decent seasons with Tennessee, but this is his best season ever of his career. He's balling the fuck out, right? So you got these like three receivers essentially. You know what I mean? John Smith is a tight end. He's getting the ball more than Tyreek and Waddle. He was getting the ball when all they had was Skylar Thompson and Snoop, uh, and they had and Snoop. You know what I'm saying? He was the one getting the ball, and he's still getting the ball more than those guys, balling out. So I was nervous, but the Packers look really good against the Dolphins. Made opportunistic plays. Jordan Love was amazing. He did not make any mistakes, no turnovers. 278 yards, only two touchdowns. The Packers, they do still need to work on some of that red zone offense, some of that short yardage game. But they are one of the best teams in terms of having explosive plays. Now, prior to week 13, they ranked like six in explosive plays. So if you don't know what an explosive play is, they marked it as any run that's more than 13 yards and any pass that's more than 16 yards. And like the Packers ranked like fifth in the league. And I would say, and I was just, and so now that I know that stat, I'm looking at explosive plays and I'm watching that game all last night, and like they had nothing but explosive plays. Like everything was like they're clicking. Um, it does matter when they do get Christian Watson involved. It does help the offense, but there's games where he's just not the main focal point, and like we live with that. But Josh Jacobs is into his own. I said I would talk about him, but what a comeback season for Josh Jacobs. Everybody looked at Josh Jacobs and looked at the Packers as crazy for giving up a guy like Aaron Jones, who is 29, turning 30. He might already be 30 for real. Everybody looked at them crazy because, Aaron Jones has been good and solid. I think there was a chance that we could have kept both of them. However, that's neither here nor there at this point. But Josh Jacobs is every bit of the running back that we saw him in the first 3 years of the NFL when he was with the Raiders. Now he again last season was an off year for him, but he's back. He's back, and I see. And every time he gets the ball, I'm excited. I'm excited. Now they're starting. Early in the season, it felt like they weren't opening up holes for him, or like he had no space. But now he's coming into his own, and like he's catching. He never was really a receiver out the backfield. Like he's catching passes out the backfield. Jordan Love is like he's his decision making is on point. We got a great tight end. Even our defense. So our defense, it's good. It's a good defense. Like they make plays. They're pretty opportunistic. They're one of the league leaders in turnovers, force. They do struggle with like getting sacks though. They do struggle with getting sacks. But like in this game, they sacked to a bunch, and they're finding ways to mask it. And they just have a lot of they have their stars, but they have a lot of players on their team that are not household names. But these are players that are really good, and I'm just excited for them because they are seeming to hit their stride right now. Like they are looking like they know what they got to do. The next 5 games include, and not in any particular order, but they have to play the Vikings again. I think they could beat the Vikings. I think they could beat the Vikings, especially the Vikings have been struggling. But like we could have beat them the first time. We gave up. We gave a 20. We spotted them 28 points and only lost by 2 points in the end of the game. Yeah, I mean they scored 3 points that whole second half after putting up 28. But I think we could beat them in the second time we play them. The Lions. The Packers play the Lions next Thursday, so they don't get along. They don't get that break that they normally do. Basically, they're playing from Thursday to Thursday, and this is a chance that we have to beat the Lions. Now we could have beat the Lions. I feel like the Packers could have beat the Lions the first game because they outgained them the whole game, and they had a lesser time of possession, but they put up way more yards than the Lions did, and they just missed opportunities. They just missed opportunities, and the Lions took advantage. But the Lions apparently are suffering from a lot of injuries on defense, so this is a chance for the Packers to like make some headway. I think they're gonna beat the Bears again, and I think they're gonna blow the Bears out this second time. Like this next time they play the Bears, they're gonna blow them out. The Bears just fired their head coach. So, sometimes firing a head coach mid-season, it creates that rah-rah effect and teams play good. Sometimes it's like it doesn't stop the bleeding, it only makes it worse, right? So we'll see what that looks like with that. And then they got the Seahawks and the Saints. The Saints, I feel like that's a dub. That's a dub. I feel like they could beat the Seahawks too. I haven't really seen too much Seahawks. I haven't seen them play too often to know for sure. But I'm gonna put my money on the Packers. So the Packers could run the table. Like if they run the table, then they would finish the year. What is it? They got 5 games left. Yeah, they got 5 games left. So they would finish the year 14-3. 14-3. I don't think they need to finish 14-3. I'll take a left for a route of these 5 games. I'll take 2 of the next 5, but I think they can win 3 or 4 of the next 5 easily for real. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited, man. Definitely improved from the year before. And I see this team, the core of it, I see us like still maintaining and doing our thing. And we'll see what it looks like come playoff time. But yo, man, I've been talking a lot. I'm excited about my football team. I'm excited about the holiday season getting underway and buying people gifts. Um, I'm excited for music, even though we still got the same people that we're talking about. We're gonna find out what's going on. I'm excited for TV, man, especially when they bringing back good competition shows like Rhythm and Flow. So if you're still watching, I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. What did you think about this week's episode? What can we do better? What do you want to see more of? Right. So I did say this, I teased this before, but I got some guests on the way. I got some people that lined up. I actually want to do a dope show with, I'm not going to tell you who, but I have a very special guest, somebody that's very near and dear to me. I do want to do an episode with them very, very soon. But we'll see what it looks like. But if you're still watching, I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Share the content, please. Share the content. Please share the content. Leave a comment below if you want to be a part of the conversation. This is episode 172 of the 280 Plus podcast. I'm your host, Los Def. And I'm out, y'all. Peace. Use your heart, not your eyes. That's all, yo. Listen to that Kendrick. I never said that before to anybody. I never suggested listen to that Kendrick, but listen to that Kendrick, y'all. Stop playing.